Hey all, I've just come across this picture of the Chipewyan Lake fire in Canada, and I want to check out what it looks like on satellite. I have no idea where this lake is, so I'm just going to search. Looks like it's in Alberta. Let's see where we go. Zooming across the Pacific into Canada, Alberta. There it is. Alright, I'm going to use RamMB slider, and I think we want to have something a little bit further west focused. So I will try goes west and see how that looks. I think we're looking at Thursday. This is the goes 18 west view. So I'm going to zoom in towards Alberta. I've switched on the GeoFire product, which shows the heat signatures, and you can already see a whole bunch of heat signatures because the fires have been really enormous in Canada at the moment. Canada is so enormous that I kind of struggle finding places. Chipewyan Lake is actually kind of a small lake, but it is in central northern Alberta. This is one of those cases where RamMB slider is labeling the states in kind of a funny place. So Alberta, which is this whole state, the label is down here. It's so funny, I don't know why this hasn't been corrected. I mean, it's way worse for Europe because the countries are all over, but you'll see, if you look at previous videos, have some discussion on that. Anyway, up in the north of Alberta, you can see a whole bunch of heat signatures. It's nighttime, doesn't look that great, but we're going to go back, and I think this is going to look pretty impressive. Yeah, it's no joke. I mean, I just loaded up the first loop. I haven't picked specific hours, but already you can see the extent of the fires in northern Alberta. This was on Thursday, and there are absolutely tons of fires. As you can see, the smoke is moving towards the north, which means that it was in a southerly airflow. South winds, strong south winds. Strong south winds, probably ahead of a cold front. The couple of things to note here. Well, okay, this is a southerly airflow. That's the warm direction for Canada because it's coming up from the warmer south. And you can also see the brown plumes from the smoke from the fires. The colors are heat signatures. These aren't like you're not seeing the fires, but you are seeing where the heat is being detected. But the big thing are one thing to note is the white that pops out every now and again. That's indicating that the smoke plumes have condensed, they formed into clouds, and that's what we were seeing in that picture. So these are pyrocumulus and likely to be pyrocumulonimbus. When you start to see those flat tops, that indicates that they're probably punching up all the way through the troposphere and touching the bottom of the stratosphere at the tropopause. I've zoomed out to have a broader view of Western Canada and these fires blowing up over here. So I was initially thinking this might have been a warm front. No, I think this is a cold front that came through, and then ahead of the cold front you had this strong southerly airflow that was blowing these fires up to the north. I think this is the warm front up here, and I'm going to check that. That means that the low pressure is up here. I think that roughly fits with the Venture's Sky European Centre reanalysis, which I think is this and that. So you've got the cold front here, low pressure up here, and then you've got that kind of warm occluded front here with the southerlies ahead of it across Alberta, which is in here. And the fires were all around this area on that day. That was 29th of May. In order to locate where things are on the satellite imagery, you can kind of go back to Google Earth, and actually one of the places that was labeled on the satellite imagery is Fort McMurray, which is down here, and we got Chipewyan Lake over here. You can see it's about 130 kilometers to the west, so we're looking a bit to the west of Fort McMurray. I don't know, what do you think? Is it this one or this one? There's Fort McMurray over here, and I kind of think it's maybe this one in the picture. What I will do is try and create the most detailed satellite loop that I can manage using RamMB slider, and then we'll take a look at a more longer time of this fire. Just working on the animation, but in the meantime checking the Sentinel-2 imagery. This is the wildfire configuration, which actually shows the heat signatures from the fires again. These are not the actual flames, but the infrared signatures. Really, really stunning imagery. This time it's from the 30th of May, so even the next day, still going. You can see the direction is somewhat more south in southwesterly winds, moving towards the northeast. Really stunning imagery. And again, you can see the beginning of Pyrocumulonimbus activity. Sentinel-2 tends to pass over in the morning, whereas the pyrocumulus and intense fires tend to pick up in the afternoons as the winds strengthen and there's sort of mixing in the atmosphere. So even at this early time, we were still seeing this beginning of pyrocumulonimbus activity. Well, that took a little while. I had to download all the images, but here is the full loop for the 29th of May. If you look at the time, you'll see it go into the 30th of May. That's because Canada is minus whatever hours, so that's actually afternoon into evening of Canada time. You can see the pyrocumulonimbus activity by those bright white clouds forming above the smoke. A big, massive pyrocumulonimbus formed right as that cold front moved in and hit the fires. You can see it blow up in a big explosion right around sunset time. The second loop is using AI to interpolate between the frames. That's why it's smoother. Canada is not the only place that's been experiencing enormous fires. This is Siberia, central eastern Russia, and there have also been huge fires there burning up in the coniferous forests. And that is it for today. See you in the next one.